Yep. So, looks like we should be underway right now. All right, so we got different plays from both sides. We've got a compass and a desert palace small key, I believe.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, kind of an interesting first key to pick up, the Desert Palace one. Yeah, I've found that with a lot of Keysanity runs, you don't see it until a little bit later, so kind of interesting first key to pick up.
So the same seed has been generated for all 4 runners. They all started at the same time. That makes it easier on us to commentate because it's really difficult to track 2 races at the same time. Speaking of tracking, I wanted to give a shout out to our trackers. We've got the lane, and right now we should have Centroid 41 with us. That may change throughout the session, but yeah, we're gonna have a lot of impressive tracking ability on display today because this is a lot of action to track.
It is, yeah, and the added element of the keys being put into the trackers is even more work. So big shout outs to our trackers, and early finding of the ice rod. That's nice because that's usually an item that trolls runners. So finding that early on is a good thing for sure.
Mm-hmm. All right. So
whether or not we need to go into Turtle Rock remains to be seen, but
yeah. Now we noticed there was a bottle with a fairy in the race game. That's going to be something you want to pick up when you see it the first time, mainly because, I mean, you need a bottle for Sick Kid at the very least, and also, who's going to turn down a fairy?
It's a nice safety to have if you don't pick up, bug net at any point where you can't catch any fairies. So having a fairy in a bottle just in case is nice.
That's a small key on the Lumberjack Cave. So
be interesting to see if that comes into
important,
play. Yeah.
Could be unimportant.
Yeah.
So the only dungeons that you need small keys, you absolutely need small keys to complete, are Palace of Darkness, Swamp Palace, and Turtle Rock. That's it.
Just those 3, really? Wow.
Yep. Skullwoods you can do with the pots that are in there. Thieves Town, the small key that's in a chest, is only used to get to the big chest. Ice Palace, we all know you can skip basically everything in Ice Palace if you want to. Misery Mire, you do not need any keys from chests to finish Misery Mire. And of course, the 3 Light World dungeons. Again, they're not required. Now, the logic wants you to have them in a lot of cases.
Well, I run Keysanity, and I didn't even realize it was just those 3 that you need keys for. I guess I don't really think too much when I'm running.
Yeah, and of course, when you get keys for some of those dungeons, the logic says, oh, now you can be able to beat this dungeon. So the logic wants you to have, some number of Ice Palace keys. I think it wants you to have...
Ooh,
it wants you to have the Desert Key.
Sorry, Bob. We got both glove upgrades in Kakariko. One in the old lady's hut, and then one down in Blind's hut as well.
Ooh. Yeah, sorry about that. I got sidetracked on keys. We've got a race to commentate. So the double glove here.
Yeah, so I guess we'd just be missing the Moon Pearl, which might show up soon enough to give everyone Dark World access.
Yeah, so here's a question for you. Say some hypothetical situation. You find Moon Pearl, say, here in Kakariko Well. Do you immediately go lift the rock and go to Village of Outcasts?
It's not a bad play to go for it. I think that I would probably try and avoid being jebaited into that and maybe go further through the Light World first.
Well, there's the mirror, as well as the Ether Medallion, and the Big Key of Swamp, which is not as exciting as you think it is, and the 50 rupees. So the well, while not hiding the Moon Pearl, was hiding some pretty impressive stuff. All right, so everybody right now just kind of getting their list of things together. Freddie picking up that glove. SirBeater gonna pick up that glove.
Loogaroo grabs the mirror there. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of divergence we see from our runners. Given that they've got the gold glove, the Titan's mitt, we might see some of our runners head up to Death Mountain, going through the dark room, the dark caves there. There's still the overworld here in the light world to check, or they could, there's a lot of options.
Very true. Now, so there's a few major areas in the light world that you want to kind of check as you're going through Keysanity stuff. Kakariko Village, of course, is one of them. You've got Hyrule Castle, which can be done as 1 or 2 segments, or sometimes 3 segments, depending on how people put it together, and whether you have a glove or not, or the small key in the lamp to get to the back. And, there's also the South Shore, which contains usually the Dam and Mini Moldorm Cave and Ice Rod Cave, and then potentially Fake Flipper shenanigans. And then, of course, there's Eastern Palace area, which, to be honest, Eastern Palace feels better in Keysanity than it does in Open. You know what I mean?
I would agree, yeah, definitely.
Because Eastern Palace, of course, combined with Sahasrah's hut, that's an entire, 9 possible items over there, though not all of them are going to be accessible right at the start of the game.
Yeah, and it seems like with Keysanity, you want to hit those like high density chests first, like to try and kind of build up an inventory of keys, maps, and then just items to get through.
Though I will say, with the equipment they have, if I found the mirror, I would be tempted to just go into, Village of Outcasts and then work my way around through like Hype Cave and all that mess and go over to Pod and do like Pod and Eastern at the same time because I have the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
Combining those things. So it looks like Freddeh is doing the sequence break up to Death Mountain, as is Chexhuman. Whereas Loogaroo is doing the back of Escape, and SirBeater looks to be making the play on Eastern.
So someone's got the right idea here. We just don't know which one of our runners it is.
So we got a small key to Ice Palace. The Ice Palace small keys, as stated before, not necessary for runners, but the logic wants you to have them to beat Ice Palace and to reach certain areas.
Old man giving Freddeh just a little bit of love.
There's the small key to Tower of Hera in the back of Sahasrah's hut. That unlocks 1 item.
It's always the one item that you don't think that you need, but then you always end up having to head down to that basement anyways and grabbing it.
So my screen fuzzed. Yeah, I think that was the single arrow. My brain was like, was that the hook shot or the single arrow? Because those are 2 very different things. Was it the hook shot? Okay. Man, I can't see diddly.
I'm in the same boat.
All right, looks like our original tracker has made it. His name is Ralph is my name. So his name is Ralph? No, Ralph is my name.
So what's his name?
Ralph is my name.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So we got the powder in Tower of Hera here. Ooh. Another item that opens up 1 more item location.
And also the best item in the game. Like, seriously.
It's true.
It's what I like to call Scrub Lord insurance, because I tend to be that. Was that Okay, that was something of Swamp Palace.
It was the map to
Okay.
Swamp Palace, so we'll know if it is a crystal or pendant dungeon when we check
I
the
was
map
like,
of the
was
Dark
that
World.
the small key of Swamp? No.
That is the hook shot here in the Spectacle Cave.
It is the hook shot. I was just like, so he walked in, walked out, and just started walking over. I was like, okay, maybe it wasn't a thing. But yeah, he was saving it for last. That makes sense. So he picks up the hook shot.
Yeah.
And then decides not to immediately go to the east side of Death Mountain.
I would go east side right away.
But, I mean, I understand it because, technically that's a sequence break, and you don't really want a sequence break, like, twice.
True.
Because then you'll just completely lose track of what items you should have and shouldn't.
The other way to go with that would just be to keep breaking the game until you win. Just ride it out all the way.
Yep. Who cares about logic? Just win.
Looks like Freddie's going to be doing the South Shore there.
Oh, we find a sword in the big key chest of Eastern Palace.
So also a sequence break at this point. Interesting.
Yep, so to get that sword, you would require the lamp, regardless. To get the hook shot and things like that, you might not require the lamp. That would be a potential sequence break involving either the lamp or the flute. Now, I do love seeing me some well-executed dark navigation, or not seeing it, as the case may be.
Chex giving us a look at what was in the Paradox Cave here. So 300 rupees, that's a nice find. Some Zora money. And now we're going into the 5 chest room.
Meanwhile, Mini Moldworm's doing their best dodgeball impression.
There's the Moon Pearl in the Mini Moldworm Cave.
Oh, yeah, there we go. I was like, has no one checked Mini Moldworm seriously? But yeah. And speaking of Zora money, it looks like SirBeater is about to acquire some via the Chris Houlihan special.
That seems to be a really popular strategy in Keysanity to get some cash.
Yeah. It's actually my traditional opening play at this point.
So with access to the Dark World, it'll be interesting to see what Freddeh decides to do with that Moon Pearl he found. Although I'm seeing on his tracker that he might not have picked up the gold, the Titan's Mitts.
Yeah,
I wonder.
That seems a little strange. I don't know how that could have happened. I mean, but then again, I've left behind the top chest in blinds before, so you never know. Might have skipped Chicken Hut or something.
Yeah.
Okay. He's got him.
He's got him. So without the Moon Pearl, it looks like Chex is going to try and is going to use the Super Bunny glitch here to pick up 2 chests here that he thinks that he's sequence breaking right now. But we know that the Moon Pearl is in play as well, so it's all kind of in the logic.
All right, so Chexhuman getting the wireframe bunny situation, and there's the swamp small key
Oh,
in the Super Bunny cave. That is a big deal. And we found a shovel in the waterfall cave.
So yeah, that's Loogaroo sequence breaking that one. Shovel, yet another fetch quest item. Yeah, we'll see what that turns up. Looks like all of our runners want to try and clear out as much of the light world as they can.
Oh, that's what I missed in the cave, in the Paradox Cave, the big key of Thieves Town.
Yes, that's a good find.
So, the reason that I've started finding the Houlihan play early to be good is because I've run into many seeds where I didn't even have enough money for the bottle vendor.
Yeah, very true. So all of our runners right now kind of just retracing the steps of some of their competitors here. So it'll be interesting to see who makes the first play into the Dark World proper, I think, at this point.
Yeah, it looks like it might be Loogaroo. Freddie's making the play on the Hookshot Cave, which is perfectly reasonable. We will get to see what Turtle Rock requires. Looks like it's Ether, which they have.
Which they have. Fantastic. So Loogaroo checking out the chest game here in the Village of Outcasts. Just a bomb upgrade.
Yeah, Freddeh does have the Moon Pearl. He picked it up in the mini Moldorm Cave. We also see Sir Beater up there in Skullwood, so he's not the only one who, or Loogaroo is not the only one who has made his way into the Dark World. But of course, Loogaroo has come into Thieves Town mostly on account of having that big key.
Yeah, and the thing with Keysanity is even though this might not be a crystal dungeon, you've got the big key for it. You know, it's not a bad one to just like finish out all the way through, and it's a fingers crossed that it's a crystal dungeon as well.
And I mean, it's 7 concentrated chests, right, in one location. I mean, they're a little spread out within the dungeon, but still, 7 chests when you could be in the overworld checking a few small locations, but this is pretty big.
Yeah, definitely a good play, I think.
All right, there's another big key. That's the big key for Ice Palace. Now, the Ice Palace big key is absolutely required for 1 item, and is logically required for 2.
Or you can not use it at all and bomb jump your way all the way around and just leave without using it once.
Yep. Though, I mean, if you have it, you might as well open the big chest.
Oh yes, definitely.
It's going to be right there.
So Sir Beater not really finding too much in Skullwoods right now.
Alright, so I can actually answer that question in chat. Why do people intentionally collect dungeon maps? So in Keysanity mode, if you check your world map, it does not show you which dungeons have crystals or pendants until you have collected that map for the dungeon. So the maps actually give you some intel that you may need to help complete the seed. The compasses, though, are complete garbage.
Yeah, nobody wants those. So it seems that the only thing of value in Skull Woods was the Fisher Price shield.
Alright, so Freddie's going to come over here and pick up the Hera small key and some hearts in the back of Sahasrah's closet. He'll probably pick up his sword as well. Nope, he's not going to Eastern, so we'll see what happens then.
And Chex is heading up to Zora's domain with enough money to pay Zora, so it'll be interesting to see if that is anything important.
Yep, Zora is often a scam, but not always.
So looks like Freddeh is joining the other runners over in Village of Outcasts and Skull Woods kind of area.
This is true. The compasses do have a purpose, and and casual players can find them to be quite useful. But for runners as experienced as this, we know how many chests are in each dungeon. We don't really need to help count. You know, unless for some reason you leave a chest in the bottom of a pod that happens to have the hook shot in it. I don't know anybody who would do that.
So far, we haven't really seen too many keys that give our runners any kind of indication as to which dungeons they might want to tackle first, other than the Thieves' Town key coming into play, which is, I think, the right thing to go for.
The Thieves' Town big key is one big deal. Also, they have 3 pod keys. 3 is the magic number for pod keys.
Yes, that is true, yeah.
Or at least a couple of them have 3 pod keys. Because for pod, if you have 3 keys, that means that you can, no matter how badly you spend your keys, you will be able to access the back dark room with the anti-fairies and the money, and the room next to it. So there's that upgrades your in-logic chest count from 3 to 6. Loogaroo is doing the Smith Chain, or the Frog World Tour, as some people call it.
So it's interesting that both SirBeater and Loogaroo went into Thieves' Town, but they don't have the Thieves' Town big key, and so they were not able to complete the dungeon. However, Chex does have the key, so he'll be able to go all the way through.
Now, Fred is checking one of the more out-of-the-way locations that a lot of people tend to leave behind, and that is the Graveyard Ledge. Turns out to have a blue boomerang in it, which he's going to go ahead and pick up, because it doesn't hurt anything. Especially if you're accustomed to certain strats in Ganon's Tower, should you need to use them, it becomes much easier.
Very true, yes. And yeah, the Graveyard Ledge is a hard place to root in.
Got a hammer.
Oh.
Loogaroo has a hammer.
Where did he pick that up?
Believe it was from the Smiths.
Oh, wasn't that nice of them?
I was just watching him hammer down the pegs, and I was like, huh. Yep, hammer down.
Okay.
Wait a minute. That means he's got the hammer!
So with those pod keys and the hammer in hand, does he go to pod, or are we still waiting for the bow before you make any attempt in?
Oh, I would definitely dip pod at this point. I mean, yeah, you'd like to have the bow, but come on. You don't get control over this. This is Keysanity.
Yeah.
the map of Thieves Town, which, you know, will be useful to Loogaroo
Yes, indeed.
on account of him not having the big key, so he could go in there and look at it.
Where did we find the Thieves Town big key, and how did Loogaroo and Beater miss it?
It was in Paradox Cave. It was the fourth chest in the
Right, because they haven't gone up to Death
5.
Mountain at all. Right.
Ooh, and the mushroom in the purple chest. So, yo, dog, I heard you like fetch quests, so we put a mushroom in your purple chest.
Yep, sounds about right.
And Loogaroo's going to check Agina's cave. See, my brain has this mental block on Agina's cave. It says that Agina's cave is part of Desert Palace, and you don't go there unless you have access to Desert Palace.
Yep, yeah, it's another one of those locations that is out of the way, and you don't want to go there unless you have other business to do in the desert or Mire or something. So we're going to be getting our first look at the hype cave here. There's the big key to Palace of Darkness and Tower of Hera, and a sword upgrade. So the hype cave actually kinda hype.
Ooh. All right, so big keys for days and some swords. So I'm telling you right now, SirBeater's going to have the opportunity to do my favorite play in Keysanity. It's my favorite play. You ready for this?
Oh yes, let's hear it.
So you go check the pyramid, and you walk up the pyramid, and you mirror to Aga Tower, and you check the chests in there.
Ooh, yeah, that's nice.
Now, I think he's only going to be able to check one chest, because no key. But still.
It's like the best way to root in those the Aga Tower stuff. Well, I don't think he's doing it, Bob.
Aw. Sad day. I said he'd have the opportunity. It's not a necessity. I mean, perhaps he wants to wait until he has that second key.
Yeah, that's also a possibility. Yeah, you wouldn't want to jump in just for the one chest. A bit of a time sink, perhaps.
Speaking of a bit of a time sink, SirBeater's now making his way toward Catfish.
Yeah.
Catfish is probably the most out-of-the-way location that anyone can think of. The only other one I can think of is like Spike Cave.
Yeah, yeah. Well, at least rooting it in with the mushroom there, so
Yeah.
that's a twofer, I guess.
Having the mushroom on hand is a great way to do that, and getting rid of that bee so that he can acquire additional potions.
Just saw on the map there that Misery Mire is a crystal dungeon.
Ah. So crystal for Mire. And it looks like Loogaroo's going to pick up that hook shot. And Thieves Town is a pendant, it turns out. So even though they have the big key to it early on, it's doesn't end up being required to complete.
That's interesting. Usually those early big keys are like a couple of kind of quick, easy crystals that you can pick up, but I guess not this run.
All right, so the catfish today. Oh,
Whoa,
catfish
the
has the flute! That's a huge deal.
And being in such an out-of-the-way location, like, it could be a while before other runners get there. So this is a big plus for SirBeater.
Especially since we know right now that that flute is required on account of Mire being a crystal. This is pretty huge. So, if you don't mind, I'd like for everyone to please rise as we begin for our Swag Duck National Anthem. Since the flute has been found, and you played me that sound, I will fly you around everywhere. And as you're being flown, I'm sure that you won't get owned, just as long as I don't let go in midair.
That's beautiful, Bob.
And
Immediately heading over to the desert area. Check out the Mire shed and maybe the checkerboard cave, and we'll also get us to a look at what medallion is required.
yep, so it's not visible on my screen.
Mine either.
And there's the bug net. 100% required, I'm sure. Not actually required. In fact, so unrequired, it's one of the items they removed from the tracker to make room for keys.
Yep, those darn keys. Meanwhile, Loogaroo making his way up Tower of Hera here.
There's another pod key in the checkerboard cave. Hang on. Did Blind have the lamp?
I am not sure.
I believe we're being told that Blind had the lamp.
Wow, so that's why we got that big key so early on.
And apparently the Blind's maiden chest had the Cane of Samaria, so what do I know?
What race have we been watching?
Sorry, I distracted everybody with my song. I apologize. I can guarantee you there will not be another song. Oh, it wasn't in the maiden's chest, it was in the attic chest. Skylight room.
Right. So we just picked up a couple more big keys, it looked like. It was the Skullwoods big key, which is not super useful for checks there. Just one chest opening up the big chest. And I think SirBeater picked up the Mire big key on the desert ledge.
That is true. Maximum Burns making a good point that Blind is not actually in the logic without the small key for Thieves Town either, because it is possible to use your keys badly.
Ha, interesting.
And there's the Desert Palace big key. In Desert Palace. In the middle room.
That's always a lot of
that.
fun when the vanilla big key shows up in its dungeon.
And we note that Chexhuman found the cape, which is allowing him to check the first chest in Agate Tower. Or is that both chests? Because he does appear to have one small key. It means he could theoretically reach the next room with the key. And the first two dark rooms in Agate Tower are doable.
They are. They're not a lot of fun, but they are doable.
And it looks like SirBeaterOfArse has located the Thieves' Town small key in the east side of Desert. So that puts the lamp and the Cane of Samaria in the logic.
Yes, it's all working itself out.
That also means there could be something impressive in the small, or in the big chest in Thieves' Town that no one will have checked at this point.
And that's one of those chests that always hangs out in the back of your mind all the way through your run.
All right, so Chexhuman is now heading up to Tower of Hera with that big key that he just got. Or that he got. We've already seen one person do Tower of Hera, so that's not a huge revelation, but we still have it.
Loogaroo is taking the walk of shame through the spiral cave here. This is another one of those locations that when you don't have the boots, it is painfully slow. You're watching the seconds tick by, thinking you're just wasting your time.
Yeah, sometimes. Alright, so Freddie picks up that Mire key on the pyramid. And it looks like he is actually going to make the Mirror to Agate Tower play. Or actually Mirror to Hyrule Castle in general.
Yeah, maybe hasn't checked out Front of Escape yet.
Yeah, that's entirely possible. He did pick up the Hyrule Castle small key inside of the Grove Cave. Cave 45, as some people call it. That particular key, the only chests it actually locks are the two down in the what we consider the normal front end of Escape. So Zelda's cell and the one before it.
Ah, yes. So SirBeater picks up the hookshot finally and will be following in Loogaroo's footsteps there. And Trolldorm proving to be no problem for Chex there. That'll give him his first crystal, putting him up one on Beater so far, but it is still very early in this seed.
Mm-hmm. So now Freddie making his way down into the Escape. Yeah, we see that cape found in the first chest of Escape, or the first chest downstairs anyway. And then we'll see the boomerang chest and the what some people would refer to as the vanilla lamp chest, because that's where you pick it up in NMG.
And just with another quick map check there, it looks like Swamp Palace is also a crystal dungeon.
All right, so that Swamp Palace key, which we found in Super Bunny Cave, is going to turn out to be pretty important. Now, the fact that the Moon Pearl and the 2 gloves, as well, and the flute. Okay, so the Moon Pearl and the 2 gloves were all available in initially available locations. The flute was available once you had those. So that means that the key, the Swamp Palace key, was pretty available early on. Now, the Swamp Palace key doesn't get you anything without the flippers.
Yeah, so we're still looking for those. But there are many locations still left to be checked where they could be hanging out, so we will have to wait and see.
Freddeh is going to use ether strats on these guards, because all he has is a fighter sword.
And that fighter sword does very little damage to those gold knights, so yeah, best to just try and take them out as quickly as possible with the ether hammer combo.
No matter what type of slash you use with the fighter sword, you're going to take 8 of them to kill one of those guards. And just 10 bomb upgrade is the second item in Aga Tower. So Aga Tower not looking great today, except potentially for that small key that's up on the Lumberjack Cave. Now, it looks like we may have some confirmation that Ether was the medallion for Mire as well.
Yeah, I think our sharp-eyed trackers might have caught that.
Hmm. So Freddeh has the Cane of Samaria and that lamp from Thieves Town, so once he gets that flute from Catfish, I would not be surprised to see him heading straight for Mire.
Yeah, it'd be a pretty good play. But whether or not he goes to pick up the flute is another story there. Looks like he's heading for Pod.
Though he also needs the big key for Mire, which
SirBeater
has.
Yes, yeah, which we picked up on the desert ledge there.
Alright, so Loogaroo picks up the lamp and the red pendant from Blind. SirBeater goes outside to find a map of Hyrule Castle, which is Jabated the map.
Seriously.
It's a map of Jabated Castle.
It's really interesting to see how much route divergence we're getting here. The seed opened up in a way that there were any number of directions that you could go, and so our runners have all kind of headed to different parts of Hyrule here, which is pretty interesting.
Nice. So Freddeh, let me mention what Freddeh was doing here. We stated that he was heading toward Pod, but now we note he's in Eastern. So he's doing what I was talking about a minute ago, and getting to pod and then clearing pod and eastern at the same time, or as much as you can, with the use of that mirror. That's an efficient use of your time, and there's a little less backtracking involved, if you ask me.
I wholeheartedly agree with that.
It's not always something you can do in Keysanity, but if you can, it's best to combine things that are near each other.
Yeah, given the amount of running around that you tend to do in a Keysanity seed, if you can, shorten the amount of time that you are running around, it always works out better.
Odd basement having only a plus 10 arrow chest. Had a little bit of a power surge here. Hope everything's okay. Alright, so it looks like Chexhuman is preparing the hammer yump. Not for this immediate moment, but he's gonna blow up the wall so that he can do it later.
The hammer yump, a skill that is very useful in Keysanity, one that I have not figured out how to do yet.
Oh, it's actually way easier than people make it out to be. Like, it is pixel perfect twice, but it might. By the way, there was the bow.
Wow.
So the archery implement, the weapon shaped like a certain letter of the alphabet, found in the dark room, with the anti-fairies and the money, the hallway leading to Helmasaur.
Wow. So it's in logic for our runners that have the lamp. Chex, not with the lamp in hand at this time, was still able to do it though.
So the bow being in Palace of Darkness is kind of a troll situation.
Yeah, I mean they gave us the enough keys to kind of get through to the back there, but it is you don't want to head in there without the bow, and for it to be so far back in the dungeon as well is pretty trolly.
All right. So Loogaroo is about to find his bow as well, and this time it's completely in logic, as well as finding a Turtle Rock small key. That is the first Turtle Rock small key we've seen, which is, to be honest, pretty rare.
Yeah. Usually Turtle Rock keys drop fairly early in a seed, so to see them this late could be that it's a pendant and it's just not required at all.
Somebody once told me the Keysanity was going to roll me. Anyway. So Chexhuman found that bow. He's heading into Eastern Palace. So he, in addition to Freddeh, he apparently had not cleared Eastern either.
We don't have the big key for Eastern Palace, so this is just going to be an initial dip in to see what is here.
Right. So he's going to pick up that sword and other things like everybody else did, but still no big key for Eastern. Yeah, I don't think Loogaroo did the hammer yump, which is going to be unfortunate. because with that, you're likely going to need all 6 pod keys to finish. And we recently confirmed that in the current version of the logic, there is a rare key lock that can occur if you find 5 keys and go kill Helmosaur.
Interesting. So it looks like SirBeater is making a play into Thieves Town here, going to pick up the Cane of Samaria and the lamp. With the flute in hand, might be tempted to make the Mire play.
All right, so Loogaroo is going for Helmosaur, so there is once again going to be that problem where the potential key lock may happen. We don't know. They have attempted to inform all the players of this key lock via the Discord. And I don't know if it's actually going to happen here. It's unlikely. So for the second pixel here, on the bomb jump, on the hammer jump, you want the menu, the item menu, to be exactly covering up the bomb proper, but not the shadow. So you want like 3 pixels of the shadow below it.
That seems so specific, but I guess if you're doing the little like pause buffering kind of thing, it's doable. It's doable.
Yeah. The first position's a little harder to describe without a visual.
So we've got some very hype boss fight sync here. SirBeater taking on Blind while Loogaroo finishes off Helmosaur here.
All right. We will see what the Helmosaur King has today. It is a Skullwood small key. Now, the Skullwood small key is yet another one of those keys that is required by the logic, but not for players. Right?
Yes, that is correct.
Yeah, you can get through Skullwoods without any keys that are found in chests. However, the logic assumes you're going to use your keys as poorly as possible.
Which is good, because sometimes that happens to us. So by crystal count here, we've got Loogaroo, who has 2 crystals at this point. Freddeh still doesn't have 1, but a lot of these dungeons, they're going to be pretty quick to motor through given the amount of items that our runners have. So even though it seems like Loogaroo has a bit of an advantage at this point, it still is anybody's race. As for the Chex and SirBeater, they're tied up at 1 crystal apiece at this time.
I imagine Freddeh will be clearing out Tower of Hera right now. But of course, SirBeater is really the only one with the knowledge about the flute. And the flute is kind of going to be the crucial point here.
Yeah, it's giving him a pretty big advantage here. He's got to take advantage of the gift he's been given by the catfish. It looks like he might be going for the Mire play.
So having that Cane of Samaria and that lamp, Misery Mire does seem like the thing. But yeah, I believe that Pod is in fact a crystal. It is one of the 5-6 crystals that the bomb shop guy talked about. That and Skull Woods.
So that gives it kind of even more weight. Although the Pyramid Fairy doesn't always have something, knowing that it is one of those 5-6, it's one of those crystals that you want to try and finish off sooner rather than later, so you can get access to those other 2 chests.
So yeah, you can, previous matches results can in fact weigh on players' minds like that. So you could end up, missing something in, I don't know, Pod basement, and beating yourself up and making sure you go back there. But then you can have things like, skipping catfish, and it has to have the item that will actually potentially alter your route in future versions because you don't want to get burned.
Absolutely, yeah. It's entirely possible that Sir Beater just ran another race where the catfish had something, so it was kind of like on his mind and went for it when he did.
Yeah. Now, that being said, those, I will say that, altering your route based on, one time that it burned you is probably not generally a great strategy. That's more of a results-oriented strategy.
Yeah,
which is not the sort of thing you really want to do in the long run. So averaging out, if you can get a good route that routes in as many things as you can and backtracks as little as possible, gets the things checked as fast as you can, that's generally good.
Right, and Beater was able to tie in the mushroom in with his rooting there to get over to the catfish, so that made it a more like viable option for him to check it out.
All right, so Sir Beater finished off Landmolus and is now making the way into Misery Mire. So I'm thinking we find the flippers here in Mire.
Seems likely, yeah, at this point.
And maybe the fire rod, just to throw salt on people's wounds.
Yeah. And Misery Mire is one of those dungeons that in Keysanity has so much more value. It has, 8 chest locations. In the regular randomizer, there's only 2 unique items that can be in those chests. But when you're playing a Keysanity race, all 8 of those could have something useful in them.
Yeah, that, and so few of the chests are blocked by any small keys at all. And if you have the big key, none of them are.
Yeah, so it makes it a very good dungeon to tackle if you've got all the right items to get in there.
So one of the things that so the way the fill algorithm works for this game is, it will pick an item and it will say, okay, can it go in this randomly selected spot? No? Okay, we'll put in, how about the next spot? No? Okay, how about the next spot? And it'll just go through a list of randomized spots until it finds a place it can go. Then it goes back to the next item on the list in the first spot that it chose, okay?
I'm with you so far.
So the way that ends up working out is a lot of times to consider the likelihood that something has something. In addition to, where it is and those sorts of things, another consideration is how many items were preventing you from accessing this chest, and how early did you get those items?
Yes. A very good point. Yeah.
So, by the way, SirBeater, speaking of Mire having value, SirBeater just picked up the book of Medora.
That's some literacy right there.
So, if you want to read about how miserable you are, there it is. And Chexhuman makes the play on Catfish. Loogaroo makes the play on Catfish. They both managed to get the flute at roughly the same time. That's going to be a huge deal for both of them. I'm going to say probably more so for Loogaroo on account of he has the lamp and the cane of Samaria, so can get into Mire.
Yeah, definitely going to work out to Loogaroo's advantage there.
Now, interestingly enough, Freddeh made the play on Turtle Rock. So there was a small key in Pod, and I'm guessing there was another small key in Turtle Rock.
Yes, that would have to have been the case. Yeah, at least one of the small keys in one of those first few chests. But without the Turtle Rock big key, we'll only be able to get as far as the Mimic Cave.
And were those the flippers in the vanilla big key chest?
Is
that what those were?
Might have been. That's maybe what we saw there. I think you called it, Bob.
I'm gonna say who was talking about the flippers a minute ago. But yeah. So with those flippers, you know what that gives us access to, right?
Oh boy. Remember when we picked up that Swamp Palace key way back when?
Yep, Swamp Palace is available. But again, Swamp Palace has so many items that are required to get into it, and so many items that that are unique to that dungeon to get in, that overall the probability tends to go down. So when I say that on average Swamp Palace is garbage, I mean it, but sometimes it's not garbage, and so you really have to weigh it against what happens there. Oh, okay, maybe the Turtle Rock key was in Hera. Yeah, the book was picked up by SirBeater Posterior, not Freddeh. That is essentially correct, Hungry Boo Man. That is correct. All right, so we also saw the gloriousness that was Spike Cave, just a piece of heart. Yeah, so the other group, the group that's playing on Speed Gaming 4 right now, is playing a different seed. So these four were in one room when the Keysanity seed was generated. The other four were in a different room. SirBeater is doing what we call the eyeball juggle. Just kind of sitting there, holding off the eyeballs at an arm's length, hitting as many of them as he can without getting hit.
Yeah, the Vidi fight with Master Sword is never fun.
Yeah. Also sword beams.
Ugh.
Luckily, sword beams don't actually really hurt you in this fight because they don't damage the eyeballs in the first place. So they don't get in your way of damage. So Sir Beater actually has access to all 6 pod keys, which is fun. If he'd go in there, I don't know if he's gone in there at all. If he goes in there, he can get the bow and clear it out.
Yeah, I don't think Beater's been in there yet.
Using hammer strats on the final eye.
Very nicely done.
Yeah, the hammer is trickier to use on that fight than you think it is, because the hitbox on it is, not the best.
It's a little
Not the
sketchy,
sort of
yeah.
thing you'd want to use in real life. It's like if you actually walked up to a giant eyeball with, like, a toy mallet. That's basically what you'd be doing.
Just hoping for the best there, yeah.
And of course, a toy mallet is different from a toy mullet, which I'm not even sure what is.
Looks like Beater is going to go right for Swamp Palace. Not a bad play,
Right.
considering that not sure where the bow is yet, not sure where the fire rod is. There is value there, so I can see why it's a good play for him.
So yeah, the deal with Swamp is you've got 10 chests in there, and if you have the mirror, the flippers, the hook shot, and the Swamp small key, and the Swamp big key, you can access all 10. If you don't have the big key, you can access 9 out of 10. If you don't have the hook shot, you can access 6 out of 10, including that big key chest. If you don't have the hammer, you gotta have the hammer, by the way, I didn't mention that. If you don't have the hammer, you can access 2. If you don't have the small key, you can access 1.
Yeah, there are layers to the Swamp Palace treasure chests there.
Yes, Swamp Palace is like an ogre, in that it has layers. Anyway.
Yes. Is that a Shrek reference?
It is.
Very nice. I think Freddeh is heading up to Catfish, which is excellent.
Gonna get that catfish. I don't think he's checked potion shop, so he'll probably do that as well. That would be my guess.
Yep, I think so.
Now I want there to be a Shrek sprite. Somebody once told me the seed is gonna troll me. I'm done.
Wow, it writes itself.
Bunny Shrek would be donkey. I'm sorry. I said no more singing.
Yeah, chat's
apologize.
not happy with you.
Disney doesn't own Shrek.
Well, they would sue us anyways, just because.
Yeah, I guess so.
Please don't sue us, Disney. So Chex finishing up. I think finishing up Misery Mire, or did they jump out there?
They don't have the lamp.
Or
they never
the
finished
cane.
Thieves Town.
Right.
So they're gonna have to go into Thieves Town and finish that off. Unfortunately, for them.
Loogaroo, on the other hand, will be able to finish out Mire here in just a few minutes.
Indeed.
There it is, the Ganon's Tower big key in the compass room in Swamp. Is that what that
Aha,
is?
yeah, that is the compass room. So it appears that Swamp Palace confirmed not actual garbage today.
And if we are playing the Ganon's Tower big key chest counting game, what are we up to? Maybe around 80 or so? 80 or 90? Chest 82. That's what I'm going to say. So Chex is going to be pretty upset to find the cane has been sitting here the entire time.
Oh, yeah. But no time for frustration slashes. We've got business to take care of. And it looks like Freddeh is going to be making his way over to Mire. Potentially Desert Mire.
Ooh, and the Turtle Rock big key also in Swamp Palace on the left side there.
Ooh. And we've also got the Bombos Medallion.
Which in this seed is going to do a whole lot of nothing.
Well, we haven't found the Fire Rod yet.
Oh
and that
my.
could make them go to Ice Palace.
Well, I misspoke then. This could be a big deal. It is odd that the fire rod hasn't shown up yet, so it could be an Ice Palace.
Yep. So we know two of the pendants right now. That's Eastern Palace and Thieves Town. The third pendant is okay. We should know if Desert is a crystal or not because somebody finished it.
Yeah, somehow we might have missed that.
Let's see. Yeah. I think Desert was probably a crystal, but don't hold me to it.
Yeah, that seems like it would be right.
And that would leave Ice Palace and Turtle Rock as the potential pendants. Now, somebody called for Fire Rod on pedestal. That's only possible if Ice Palace is the remaining crystal.
Yes, that is right. Loogaroo going with the Ice Rod strats, missing a couple of the shots there, the land mollusk fight is a long one if you don't have fire rod, ice rod, or the silver arrows to make it a little bit quicker.
Yeah, so the ice rod strats. So fire rod strats are a lot of runners' preferred strats. Some of them also prefer the silver arrows because they kill in one shot. Although it's a little trickier of a shot because you have to time it. The shot fires a little slower.
Yes, it
So you have to
does.
time it in advance. The ice rod, I believe, travels even slower than that. Or close. So it's a very different animal, the ice rod fight, than the fire rod fight.
Yeah, definitely.
So we do note that Desert Palace is in fact a crystal. So it's down to Turtle Rock and Ice Palace for that last pendant, and in turn the last crystal.
It is kind of hard to tell which one it might be, given that we have small keys and big keys for both dungeons. So usually with Keysanity, you kind of get a bit of a hint where you won't have the big key for one of the pendant dungeons because it's in Ganon's tower or something.
So speaking of which, SirBeater is doing the flipper stuff. I imagine this trip will culminate with a trip into Ice Palace.
Which, given the equipment in hand, it's a good play to go for.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like having just Master Sword for my Cold Stare fight, but sometimes you do what you gotta do. He also appears to have... I mean... Yeah, that's definitely some form of mail upgrade.
Looks like, I think that's the, that'll probably be blue mail then. Because I think the Mega Man sprite goes gold when you have the red mail, so...
Yeah, and he's white right now, so that's the blue mail for sure. Alright, so he's finally picking up those waterfall items, and then he's gonna head, I imagine, right back into that portal. Oh, no, he's gonna check Zora. Guess he hasn't actually done Zora. Yeah, I'm guessing that the blue mail was also found in Swamp Palace, so... Remember when I said Swamp Palace was garbage? I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's okay. It just had everything today.
Swamp Palace has done terrible things to me in the past.
It's done terrible things to all of us, I think. So with the bow, the Vitreous fight goes a little bit smoother for Chex there. Probably a little annoyed that he had to double dip to pick up, go back to Thieves Town and pick up the Cane of Samaria before continuing on in the dungeon. And it looks like SirBeater decided to not go back towards Ice Palace and is instead heading towards Pod and maybe a check into Eastern Palace as well. We'll soon find the bow. Probably very happy to find that one when they do.
Oh, yeah. the bow being in pod is something that nobody ever wants to see.
Yeah, even if the
Except you
bow
feel
is in,
great when you get it. Like
yeah,
it's just like
yep.
you want to see if you make the early play into pod, you want to see it. And if you don't make the early pod, you never want to see it.
I find that even the bow in Eastern Palace feels a little better, but for pod, yeah, you never want to see it in there.
So people are talking about the key that's on Lumberjack Cave. So at the moment, the only one that can really troll people is a Turtle Rock key, and that's only if the final Turtle Rock key is in or locked behind the vanilla big key chest, which is a possibility in V28.
Right, yes.
Because I imagine most people will completely skip that vanilla big key chest once they get the third big key.
Yeah, most runners in
Third small key, excuse
Keysanity,
me.
yeah, are gonna want to skip that the Lava Island chest. It's a kind of a no-go zone unless you've got all the keys for Turtle Rock.
So the tracker is a custom piece of software put together by Feasel for the purposes of remotely tracking streams and displaying it on the screen. This allows us to outsource our tracking abilities to some of the finer members of our community. This time being Ralph is my name and the Lane. So shout outs to them. And Chexhuman also going to be making the play into Swamp. So it does feel like, though, at this point, the play into Swamp is kind of forced.
It does, yeah. I mean, breadcrumb-wise, you've done a lot of searching already, and then to pick up the flippers, your next move is to hit up at one of the two dungeons that you need the flippers for. And with Swamp being a crystal, you would pick that one to first, I would say.
Yeah, and without the bombos or fire rod.
Right, of course.
Exactly. And so you have to go into Swamp to get bombos so you can go into Ice.
So, Bob, I'm just taking a look at SirBeater and Loogaroo's trackers here. They have the silver arrows up on their trackers. Were they also in Swamp?
It is entirely possible. I think I saw them, to be sure, but I couldn't tell you where. Like, my brain thinks they might have been in the waterfall room chest. Oh, Argus, of course.
Argus, okay. Yeah, I thought that was, for some reason, I looked at that real quick, and I just saw the single arrow.
But yeah, no, that's the silver arrows, and the silver arrows, of course, one of the more important things you can get. So Loogaroo, despite having access to Ice Palace now, in its entirety, even in the logic, is instead going to Turtle Rock.
Ooh, but Loogaroo didn't do left side Swamp, it looks like, because they do not have bombos.
Oh,
so if we need that to get into Ice Palace.
The left side skip play, that is a treacherous play in Keysanity.
Yeah, that could come back to bite him, I think.
I mean, it already is.
Yeah.
We know what's here in Turtle Rock. The answer is not a whole bunch.
And it's also worth noting that the silver arrows are also a really nice find, given that our runners all have Master Sword at the moment. And a Master Sword Ganon fight takes forever, but with the silver arrows, it makes it a little less painful at the end there.
Master Sword Silverless is, in fact, complete garbage.
The worst.
Yeah. I mean, I actually remember watching you do it once.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think it was in that, epic 8-hour match. But,
yes, that's it.
But yeah, that was a Master Sword Silverless is not a fun thing. Master Sword Silver's better, but I prefer Tempered Sword Silverless to Master Sword Silvers.
I would agree.
Because spin to win is not my thing. I ain't playing Wheel of Fortune here. That's all I'm saying.
Just a big 20 on the ether tablet. That was our first look at that, I think.
Alright, so SirBeater gonna finish off Helmosaur. That's gonna complete the Palace of Darkness, to the best of my knowledge, in its entirety. And Chexhuman picking up that Bombos. Freddeh finally making the play into Swamp Palace as well. So everybody's gonna have silver arrows, blue mail, good stuff all around. And of course, the all-important Ganon's Tower Big Key.
Yes. Given that we've seen quite a lot of the run so far, I'm thinking that Ice Palace might be the last crystal that we're looking for. Using Bombos to get in, maybe the Fire Rod's in there, but I don't know. I
Okay.
can't see the Turtle Rock thing kind of playing out.
I was sitting here like, did SirBeater find the Eastern Big Key somewhere? No, he did not. Alright, so he's going to 4. I guess he hasn't done some of Escape. Or Aga Tower.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? He could finish Aga Tower.
Yikes.
If you go to Aga Tower and you finish it, you might go get that small key on the ledge. But you
we're
don't
still
have the
missing
boots
the
yet.
boots. Yeah.
Yeah. So, here's what needs to happen for maximum troll. You ready?
Okay, hit me with it.
Okay, so first of all, boots are in Turtle Rock somewhere. Okay.
Okay.
Second of all, Ice Palace is the last crystal. And the Fire Rod on the pedestal.
Ooh.
And the Turtle Rock key in the Lumberjack Cave.
Yep, just for good measure. Yep.
And the fourth one in the Vanilla Big Key chest.
Oh yeah. Okay. That sounds like maximum troll.
Could Fire Rod be at Pyramid Fairy? No, it cannot. And the reason for that is Skull Woods is one of the required crystals. Oh yeah, Fire Rod can't be a pedestal if Turtle Rock is pendant, so there is no Fire Rod pedestal. I am a derp. Wait, no, it's ice that needs to be the final pendant.
Yes, In that situation, then yeah, it could still be on
There
the
we go.
pedestal. Yeah.
Ice is the final pendant. I have words.
And you use them well.
I mean, I use them. Alright, so SirBeater picking up that big key of Skullwoods. Which, unlocks that one item, but I'm sure our other runners have probably checked that. Bombo's tablet just having a little piece of love.
It's looking like at least getting into Ice Palace is the play at this point.
So I'm eyeing Loogaroo's screen, and I'm thinking this might be what I think it is. It's not. Never mind.
Oh, we got our hopes up there.
Unfortunately. I think he's probably going to be heading for like the graveyard ledge and the bumper cave, that sort of thing.
Yep.
Maybe he's checked bumper cave, I don't know.
Meanwhile, Chex is actually taking the dive into Ice Palace here, so we're going to find out if there's anything worthwhile.
So the Ice Palace play being made. SirBeater making the Aga Tower play. We saw a couple of runners get the items in here, but will SirBeater go for the full clear? I mean, I don't think I would.
I can't see it happening.
Yeah, he ain't.
He's mirroring out. Okay, good. I guess trying to exhaust all options before making the dive into Ice Palace.
Yeah, some people have I would say very rational dislike of Ice Palace.
I understand it, but at the same time, like, Ice Palace is like maybe the most fun dungeon to kind of play with.
Yeah, Ice Palace is the most fun if you know what you're doing. And if you are garbage at video games, it's the worst. Now, we note Chexhuman is making what I call, for this Ice Palace, the correct play. He is not bomb jumping.
The bomb jump is really flashy and cool, but you're right. In this case, going with a full clear likely, it actually saves you time not doing the bomb jump.
So the condition where it's better to not bomb jump is the following. 1, you have the big key. If you don't have the big key, you have to bomb jump, because you can't get down there any other way. Number 2, you have at least one small key. That really helps. It's not required, but it helps. Number 3, you have the Cane of Samaria. There's the fire rod in Ice Palace.
Wow, how about that? So, do you keep going? I guess you would just keep going. You're already in here. You probably clear it out, you know?
Well, I mean, yeah, but as you can see, Chex actually skipped a chest. He did not go to the vanilla big key chest.
Mm.
So he picked up that fire rod, he immediately turned around and headed down into the spike room.
Well, hopefully another runner will check that chest, so we'll see if Chex missed anything by skipping that one.
I mean, he's just going to pick up the important things, because let me tell you what's happened here. If Ice Palace turns out to be the remaining crystal, then this is go mode.
Yes. Yes, it just might be.
So he is kind of hoping and banking that, that's not like a turtle rock key, and that this is a crystal, or that this is a crystal. Yeah, so these are technically two different 1v1 races. As you see, the versus there in the middle, showing you that the top two racers are racing against each other, and the bottom two are racing against each other. But for the convenience of broadcasting and for the convenience of generating seeds, they are in fact running the same seed.
I can't even
All
imagine
right.
commentating on two seeds simultaneously. I think my head would explode.
Yeah, it's been done. During the latter rounds of the previous tournament, the rules stated that everyone had to run a different seed, even if they were running at the same time. So some of that happened.
Wow.
Yeah, Keysanity's music is completely shuffled. When you walk into a dungeon other than Hyrule Castle, there is a 50% chance that you will get the pendant music, and a 50% chance that you will get the crystal music. So it's you don't know either way. So now we see Loogaroo finally making the left side swamp play, having it come back to bite him specifically. Now, picking up the fire rod here before fighting Cold Stare had to feel pretty good, because that gives you a much better option for applying some damage to Cold Stare's face.
Yep, definitely.
And this Cold Stare fight is, of course, brought to you by the Cold Stare Creamery, which every scoop, of course, comes with 400 calories and 4 hearts of damage. And
oh, it's the pendant.
the pendant.
Oh. Picked up a tempered sword, though, so that's nice. Where are we going to find these Turtle Rock keys?
Tempered sword is pretty nice, though having to go through Cold Stare to get it ain't the best.
This is true.
So Chexhuman gonna go ahead and finish out Pod, because we know Turtle Rock is the remaining crystal. What does that leave? Well, we could be in a situation where Skull Woods, the back end of Skull Woods, holds a Turtle Rock key, or the Fat Fairy holds the Turtle Rock key, because Skull Woods and Pod are the 5 and 6 crystals.
Yep, so there still are some locations that could have some keys that we're looking for.
We did see a Turtle Rock key on the pedestal in a seed last night, using what is probably the worst hint.
Yeah, it kind of is a little confusing. Both of the runners in that race had to stop for a second and think about what exactly it was.
Is the Turtle Rock mirror clip allowed? I believe the answer is no. That is considered a major glitch. Basically, all mirror clips are considered major glitches, so you can't do the Death Mount Descent, and you can't do any of those other interesting clips because it lets you go out of bounds. The minor glitches that are allowed include fake flippering, water walking with the hovering, or not the hovering with the boots, but hovering also is allowed. The Jesus walk, and let's see what else. Super Bunny, and I think that's pretty exhaustive.
I think that about covers it, yeah. So as it stands right now,
Yeah,
Beater, go.
the mirror for disappearing blocks, that's a thing.
Yes. I was just going to say, as it stands now, Beater has a bit of an edge on Chexhuman, but it's not insurmountable at this point because we're still looking for little bits and pieces. But I'm really like Freddeh and Loogaroo have really tightened up here. Like they're both in Ice Palace at the same time, same amount of dungeons completed. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, you know those these races where you clear out everything and everybody does it in a different order, but in roughly the same amount of time. So you're gonna have a nice little a pretty close race when it's all said and done.
Yeah, and sometimes Keysanity can get a little out of hand, where one runner will, get a couple of things that move them along a lot faster. But yeah, this has been a good race so far.
Yeah, it's left versus right. So Chexhuman is facing off against SirBeater, and Loogaroo is facing off against Freddeh. So we see SirBeater about to make his way to the Mothula fight. Now, I will tell you, picking up the Tempered Sword off a Cold Stare, I mean, yeah, you don't want to have to go through Cold Stare to do it, but hey, at least you get it for Mothula.
Yep, should make this fight fairly easy.
Mothula with the Tempered Sword is something even I can feel pretty good about. Just takes 4 hits that count. Of course, it's not always easy to tell when one counts.
And it looks like Chex is heading right into Skull Woods as well. Beater was doing a couple of overworld checks to try and look for other keys, I imagine, for Turtle Rock. And in that time, Chex kind of caught up in a way.
Alright, so here's the Mothula fight. That's 1, 2. Let's see. Using some Fire Rod strats to get him away from the spikes. That's a 3rd hit, I think, and the 4th. There you go.
Done and done. I looked away for just a second there. Did Mothula drop anything of importance?
I'm not gonna lie, I also looked away for a second, but I'm going to focus on this fight right now.
As am I.
Oh yeah, it's a map. That was right. I knew I forgot about it for a reason. Like I saw
yeah.
And just a single rupee in the second chest. So will we get the pedestal check? That's what I want to know. Nope. SirBeater's like, nope, I'm out. But Chex, well, he's still got to go get that single rupee.
I feel like the check is worth doing? You know, what if it's boots? It could be boots, right?
I don't see why not. Chex is doing it for us.
Attaboy.
Pedestal hype ready. It is a compass, I believe.
Well, that was disappointing.
Or a map. It's one of those two. But yeah, I think it's a compass.
I think Chex is making the right play here to check out the Pyramid Fairy.
Ah. Yeah, that does seem like an excellent play. Having access to both those 5 and 6 crystals could lead you to those Turtle Rock small keys. Now, if he picks up one Turtle Rock small key, we know he'll find a second one at some point.
Yeah, I think with 2 in hand, it'd be worth going to Turtle Rock and just, you know, hoping and praying that there's enough keys to get you through inside the dungeon.
So what if Chexhuman's idea here is, okay, so I'm gonna do this, and then if it turns out to be the boots, I'm gonna go to Aga.
Ooh, it's a possibility.
It is more often than not that you will at least set foot in all dungeons during Keysanity. Completing all of them is a little rarer, but still likely, or still possible. There we have a Turtle Rock small key and a Compass of Mire. So, Chexhuman finds that third Turtle Rock small key, and he will be good to go. Looks like SirBeater is doing the same play.
Wow, this is interesting because, yeah, Chex was kind of coming from behind for most of this run, and he's overtaken Beater at this point. Meanwhile, Loogaroo and Freddeh both working their way through Skullwoods here. Also, like, kind of neck and neck here. This is exciting.
All right, so the Ganon Tower big key was in the southern room, or the compass room, in Swamp Palace. So Freddeh and Loogaroo are both on the moth fight at the same time.
How does this happen?
How hype is this?
An hour 49 in, and we're seeing, like, boss fight sync.
Okie dokie. So, Chexhuman making his way through Turtle Rock. He's got 2 small keys.
This will be our first look at these 2 right side chests, because previous dips in here we have not had the fire rod.
Ah. For all we know, we could find the 4th Turtle Rock key here. Though, actually, according to my calculations... Yeah, okay. So, the key that's on the Lumberjack Cave could either be a Turtle Rock key or a Ganon's Tower key. That's it. That's all that's left.
That is all that's left, yeah.
Also, did you know that it is technically possible with the customizer of this game to put in a chest a big key for Aghanim's Tower?
Really?
Yep. And if you put this on the pedestal, it says, okay, so this big key doesn't actually exist. Are there 3 Skullwoods keys? Because that seems a little ridiculous. Why would anyone need 3 Skullwoods keys?
Yeah, what are there, like, there's one or two in a chest, and then one under a pot, and then one...
Oh, well, we don't count the one that's in the automatic chest.
Right.
I think. The pinball room chest just doesn't count. I think. Yeah, Turtle Rock Key and Hera Basement, that is not news. We knew about it. Okay, I guess the pinball room chest does count. But that assumes anyone goes to pick it up.
Right. So did Chex pick up the Turtle Rock key that is in the basement of Hera?
I do not believe so. Yep, Turtle Rock does tend to be the play.
Yeah, I think Chex might be missing a key to get all the way through. He's just got one left here. We're going to use it up ahead here, but is not going to have one for to actually get to Trinex.
Yep, be able to check the laser bridge, but he will be unable to take out Trinex himself.
I guess unless Laser Bridge has the one remaining key that we're looking for, or that is currently unaccounted for.
I'm not gonna lie, I get the feeling it's the one on Lumberjack Cave.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, all the races here are pretty close. So, SirBeater is in, basically, I would call it actual go mode at this point. Because as you can see, he's skipping the big chest. Mm-hmm. He's just going straight for Trinex. There's the boots on Laser Bridge. And Freddeh and Loogaroo also going to have a similar situation. Loogaroo does not have enough keys, and Freddeh does, it looks like.
And picking up those boots, that might pull Chex away from staying on Death Mountain, going for the Hera basement, and it's going to probably lead to Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb.
That's entirely possible, but
Oh, never
well,
mind.
he's on Death Mountain. Oh, he's fluting away. I see. He was probably thinking, oh, I need to go to Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb. What's the closest point on the map to that? Well, it's 1. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Nope, not quite.
Oh. So, unfortunately, Chexhuman, turns out, has apparently been into the basement room in Hera already, but without a light source.
Yikes. That is unfortunate.
And so it's possible he just forgot that he hasn't actually checked the room.
Well, there's our red mail in the King's Tomb.
Well, that'll make things, easier, assuming he can, get himself back on track, which it looks like he might be doing. So SirBeater coming in with the spin attack on Trinex. Ooh, taking some beats. But going to use some cape strats to take down Trinex in the final segment.
Yeah, very smart. It would be kind of a costly death because I don't think they opened up the laser bridge door, so that would have set them back.
Half magic on Trinex. That's going to make things much easier as SirBeater makes his way to Ganon's tower. I mean, the problem with charging up your shot is, you have to take a bunch of time to do it. Aren't we trying to go fast here?
Yep.
Leaf shield.
So yeah, as we see, Loogaroo ran into the same problem as Chexhuman and is now doing the boots location checks.
Yep. See, Chexhuman, he's checking the ether tablet, as well as some other. Sure, he'll be into Hera basement right after that.
And as SirBeater makes his way up into Ganon's tower, the nerves start to get to you. You're looking for that dot done from your opponent at this point. So it's always a tense run up Ganon's tower for sure.
All right, so taking a look at Chexhuman's stream, he did in fact go into that Hera basement to pick up the other Turtle Rock key because he marked himself as go mode. And SirBeater making his way through the gauntlet. Several rooms of nothing but enemies that you've got to kill every single one of. Making very short work of those rooms with that half magic and fire rod.
Yeah, looking very clean for these first few rooms here.
Getting a little bit bodied by that Vimos laser, but I'm assuming that was a damage boost because it knocked him down. Chexhuman going to be making his way back through Turtle Rock. Now, when you have absolutely positively have to kill every dude in the room, that's when you use bombos. Oh wow, Loogaroo is making the play on Aghanim 1.
Remembering that key in that location, the lumberjack house there, or lumberjack cave, I guess it is.
I'm betting now that it is the final Turtle Rock key, so it could do him just as much good as going into the Hera basement.
Yep.
But much slower.
So SirBeater only a couple rooms away from the very top of Ganon's tower, and Chexhuman is just taking on Trinex now.
Yeah, I don't believe he did the Pyramid Fairy, which would, no, I think he might have done the Pyramid Fairy, he just hasn't done the Hera basement.
Yeah, it's one or the other. I feel like he might have gone into Hera basement without a fire source. Is that possible?
Maybe.
Same situation as Chex?
Possibly. Alright, SirBeater with that nice spin strat on Moldorm takes care of him, no problem. And we move on to the Aghanim 2 fight, otherwise known as Trigonometry's Revenge. If you see a runner get 2 or 3 shots on this, know that it's way harder than it looks.
It sure is.
As we can see. These projectiles doing SirBeater's absolutely no favors.
There we go, that's a nice double.
And there we go. That takes care of Aghanim 2. And SirBeater of Posterior gonna make his way to beat some Ganon Posterior.
With Tempered Sword and Silver Arrows in hand, this shouldn't be too difficult a fight, but Ganon still finds ways to troll runners, so it's not over yet.
Alright, so we need 12 slashes or 6 spins or some linear combination thereof that adds up to the proper value of damage on the first phase. And then we move on to the second phase, where, thanks to the half magic, SirBeater is going to be using those cape strats to avoid taking much, if any, damage from the fires balls and fire bats. And that puts him right into phase 3. Just need 1 slash per jump. And that'll do it. And in the final phase, you gotta make sure the torches are lit. Slash Ganon to turn him blue, and then Shoot him with a blue elephant gun. I mean, silver arrow.
Making very sure to get the torch glitch there. Maybe get a double
This should
here.
be a pretty solid double, and there it goes. Sir Beater finishing off Ganon as long as he manages not to fall off the edge. This should be a clear victory for Sir Beater. And we have it, Sir Beater finishing in first place with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 5 minutes, and 56 seconds.
Wow, GG. Meanwhile, we've got Freddeh wrapping up his Ganon fight hopefully soon. Well into phase 3, looks like. Oh, actually, we're in phase 4 already.
Ooh. That was a nice double up in that spot up top. Wasn't aware you could get one in that particular spot.
And just like that. Freddeh takes down Ganon and finishes up with an SRL time of 2 hours, 7 minutes, and 16 seconds to win his race against Loogaroo.
Indeed. So well played to Freddeh and Sir Beater. I'm going to bring in Sir Beater.
Alrighty.
I'll bring in both of them because they're both here.
Of course.
All right, we are joined now by the winners of our 2 races, Sir Beater of Posterior and Freddeh. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, I guess. I'm not sure what happened that seed, but it was sure a seed. Once again, as most of the seeds have been today.
How about
Yeah.
Sir Beater? How you doing?
Yeah, I feel pretty much the same way about it. That was quite a seed.
Yeah. Was your go mode the third Turtle Rock key as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Did you get it out of
Hair basement.
Terra Basement at it? Oh, I got that one. Where did you get the one from Fat Fairy? Or Pyramid Fairy? Sorry.
Yeah, Pyramid Fairy, Hair basement, and I forget where the third one even was, actually.
Yeah, I'm actually
was
surprised I lasted this long, or I beat him, because I got
it
that
was
second
pod.
key.
It was pod
was-
next to the bow.
Yeah, that's what it
Right
was.
next to the bow,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
where the
that's
other
right.
Turtle Rock key was. And then the fourth one was the one in Aga's Lumberjack Cave.
That's what I
It
figured,
was
but I
the
figured
one
without
that-
boots.
Yeah, as I say, I'm like, I'm not getting that unless I have boots, and even then, I'm probably not going for that. I'm like, I'm just going to assume that's the Turtle Rock key, and hope I don't skip it somewhere along the way. The other
Yeah,
one.
right, of course, boots were on Laser Bridge, so...
Laser Bridge, of course.
Yeah.
So, again, wow, this seed. The seed wants you to go to Laser Bridge to get boots to do Aga 1 to do... why? Why, game, why? Well, I didn't do that. Yeah.
I was really hoping, because I went into Ice Palace pretty much last, and I didn't know if it was a pendant or a crystal yet. I was so hoping I could avoid Turtle Rock at all.
Yeah, I know, right? I finished it too. I'm like, well, it's a tempered sword. Is it also a crystal? Oh, it's not a crystal.
I grabbed the fire rod out of there, and that was the last item that I needed, and I started to
Same.
just, like, go mode out of there, and I was like, oh, wait, no, I don't know if this is the crystal or not. I better look for keys.
Yeah,
I did
I mean,
skip
we-
Ice Tea Room, but I was just like, I'll open the chests on the way, but I'm not going to go out on my way for Ice Tea Room.
yeah, and I believe Sir Peter actually skipped the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, that's the same chest I skipped.
No. The iced tea room is the is the one on the other side, like with the
But you have to run.
pots and everything. So the one he skipped
Yeah.
was the one that was above the fire rod.
Oh, well, if I skipped that,
that's-
it was unintentional. I thought I went back for that, though.
No, I think Beater did. It was Chexhuman that skipped that one.
Oh, maybe I am
okay.
talking out of my rear end. All right.
Well, I definitely started to leave that room, and that's when I thought about it and was like, wait a minute, I don't know if a Turtle Rock key might show up in here and I'm going to need it. So I think I backtracked for it a little bit.
All right. So yeah, and we see Chexhuman coming up on his Ganon fight.
So I hesitate to ask what happened to Loogaroo.
Well,
It all came down. It all came down to the Turtle Rock key, unfortunately.
yeah, he got the one in
Oh.
Aghanim's lumberjack cave.
Oh, so that's
Yeah.
how we know it's at Lumberjack. Gotcha.
He has not been to. I think it was Hera basement.
Oh,
Yeah.
so I guess I'm the only one that got that Hera key before going back up to and finishing Hera.
Yeah, because nobody else had a
I-
fire source at that point.
Oh, the lamp. Okay.
Yeah,
I
that was
guess
quite
the
a
big
long
key,
time
'cause
for a fire source.
Because I really broke logic. Like I didn't go. Because I'm pretty sure Flute was behind Death Mountain as well. So you had to get the lamp from somewhere weird. Wasn't it?
Blind.
Blind. Yeah. Which I didn't have a weapon for. Like I spent a bunch of time trying to find a weapon.
Oh, see, I
found
dipped
a
into-
fucking hammer, but
I dipped into Eastern really early. The vanilla big key chest had the plastic sword in it.
which was also technically
Also-
a sequence break.
The flute
Yeah.
was not behind Death Mountain. It was at Catfish.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It was a catfish. But
Yeah, I think
Catfish.
flute was the
no,
intended way to
yeah.
get to Death Mountain.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? Okay. But yeah, I wasn't really sure in my head what it was, so I was just kind of going off of what I had at the near the or
And
partway
blind.
through.
The lamp actually was behind Death Mountain because the Thieves Town big key was up there.
That's what I was thinking. Right, the lamp was back there. So the flute, which that was really what screwed me. Like I got my flute and went straight to Mire and got everything else for Mire and Desert. That was weird.
Yeah, that's the
Desert
same thing
having
I
its
did.
own big key, that's fun.
Here's Vanilla Desert big key, and oh, by the way, here's the Mire big key on the ledge too. Oh, and they're both crystals. Here you go. Have fun. Great, thanks, game. I love it. Oh, and it's ether to get in there too. You're
So,
so kind.
So what happened to put Chex behind?
He just, never, he didn't find those keys in time. He had to go to, he made the dip into Turtle Rock with only 2 small keys. And
That's what I did too, though. And I died and still didn't make it back to freaking my minute cave. I thought I was so screwed after that. I'll have to
I
watch
guess
this one
that's what
back.
helped me. I guess that's what helped me then is I didn't make the double dip into Turtle Rock. I just went there after I had the 3.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you
it
had
was
the
somewhere. I thought
Peter.
I
You
had-
had the advantage of having the flute before anybody else, like by a pretty wide margin. So that set you off on the right track.
Yeah, I knew I wanted to do some unconventional routing, and it just really played out completely perfectly in this one.
I almost went to frickin' Catfish before doing pod, but I'm like, I have so much pod stuff. I just whatever. I'm just gonna do it. If I don't get anything, I'll leave and go out towards that. Then I got stuff out of pod. I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
It was
I'll
just
do
fun.
Catfish once I get flippers, but flippers ended up being locked behind flute, which was on Catfish, and I hate when that happens. It really messes with my routing.
of
This
course,
was the first
Catfish
key-
wasn't that bad. Sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is the first Keysanity seed I've ever played where I went into pod with all 6 keys, all 6 keys and no bow.
I also lost a bunch of time in pod because I could have just finished it by skipping Harmless Hellway, but I forgot I had the big key. I didn't mark it down, and then I
Ooh.
checked right after I opened it. I'm like, oh, or after I opened the big chest because I grabbed it. I'm like, oh, maybe I hadn't and forgot. Opened the big chest. I'm like, oh, I don't have another key to finish. Okay, well, I'll run back later. Didn't really cost much other than time, but
But the upside with your Catfish check is you also had the mushroom at the time, so you can kind of give yourself an excuse to go up there and do 2 things.
yeah,
The
yeah.
mushroom
I mean,
and the mirror.
once you have a flute, it really. And
Yeah,
the
I did the
complete
whole
path
Dwarf
of it.
World Tour thing, and then I did Hype Cave, and then I went up to Pyramid, then I went to Mushroom, then I went to Catfish, kind of all at one shot pretty early.
Yeah, I actually correctly put off the whole South Grove, Mr. Stumpy, and Digging Game because I accidentally grabbed the Blacksmith before doing that because I was really looking for that weapon for Blind. And then ended up skipping all that and leaving it till very late, which was the correct decision. Unfortunately, I went there before I went to Catfish. So it was still kind of a waste of time.
All right, Loogaroo takes down Geometry the boss, and heads on to Ganon.
Geometry worked me pretty good in that one. I think I had like a 00122 or something.
Moved. I actually had a decent one that time. I got, I think, 2112. Kind of a weird setups, but yeah.
Yeah. I
got
feel like I
lucky
made
in the
up for it
first
on my
one.
Ganon.
Yeah, I'd say I made up for it on my Ganon too, just the wrong way around.
Oh,
That was kind of a disaster of a Ganon. I hugged him, I think, twice.
all right. So, anything else you guys would like to say about this seed? Oh, well, there we go. Chexhuman has made his way into this conversation. GG, sir.
GG checks.
Well played.
GG.
GG Jax.
So, about that Turtle Rock key.
Oh, yes. How about that? I should have gone
Yeah.
straight to Hera.
Well, that's a hard one to check if you did everything else up there. Like, I was thinking Ether Tablets, I got booked pretty late. And I'm like, well, Ether Tablets up there, I'll check that on my way to Turtle Rock if I don't have the small key by then. But I had already done... I managed to combine the Hera basement with Hera. My finishing of Hera.
Yeah, I was gambling on a Turtle Rock key in Turtle Rock, of course.
Yeah.
I wonder how often there is one there, because it seems to happen pretty often.
It does
totally
feel like it
seems-
happens.
Did you have the
This is
same
not an
thought as
uncommon
me?
occurrence.
Where you saw that key on the ledge and were thinking about it on the Lumberjack ledge and thinking, like, that's probably a Turtle Rock key. That would be dumb. And then I got the second Castle Tower key. It's like, that's totally a Turtle Rock key.
Exactly. Do we know where all four keys were?
The fourth one
It
was the
was,
Lumberjack
yeah.
key.
It was
Oh, okay.
actually a Lumberjack. Did anyone else go for that map on the floating island?
I'm not sure. I know. Was it you who did?
It was me. Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
okay.
It
I
was
think
all of
I did.
disappointment.
Yeah, there was the map of Jabated.
Yeah, that was. I'm like, oh, good, another map. I can figure out where more stuff is.
Couldn't have possibly been the Turtle Rock or Ice Palace map.
Oh no, it was the Castle Tower, Hyrule Castle map, I believe, or maybe Ganon's Tower, one of the two.
Yeah, it was.
Are you talking about the pedestal?
No, the floating island.
Oh, yeah.
Pedestal is also a map, though.
That is true.
I took me a second to. I was thinking, but I'm like, can you what the but? Oh, a map. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, you can find your way home. So it's a map of Link's house, right?
Yes, that's what it is.
Definitely,
Map of
Yeah.
Link's house.
it's an important map, really.
Yeah, you're apparently under your bed is an eighth crystal. Nobody knows that. All right, let's see if so. Loogaroo is going to set himself up so that we can talk to him as well. Is there anything else you guys want to say about this seed while we're waiting on our fourth competitor?
I had fun on that in the early game routing. I like seeds that open up a lot right away. Makes for interesting routing decisions.
Yeah, this one
Yeah.
gave a lot of options. It was definitely interesting from the early part.
And
Yeah, it
my
was definitely
decision.
interesting.
I got
Yeah,
the
two
friggin-
gloves in Kakariko right off the bat. That kind of tells me, yeah, something's gonna happen here.
Yeah, I think Moonpearl was South Shore too, so you doing the normal routing, you get Dark World access almost right away.
And we are now joined by our fourth competitor, Loogaroo, who completed the seed. And well played, sir. Well played to you. Does look like you are muted.
Yep.
Who sequence broke Death Mountain at the beginning? Did anyone?
I
A
did,
couple
yeah.
people, I believe. Chex, you did, and Freddie did, right?
Okay, yeah, I did as well. I went straight from I went the south way through Kakariko, so I was up there after
Yeah.
went straight up there.
That's what I did.
I went
nice.
catfish pretty early to get the flute, or else the next thing I was going to do was going to sequence break that, so I almost did.
I was so late getting the flute. It was
Yeah,
terrible.
sounds like we did the same things, Chex. Did
So
you try to
it-
go into Turtle Rock as well? With 2 keys and not the big key, like silly people like us?
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
There you are.
There we are. All right.
Hello, Loogaroo. Welcome.
GG's, man.
Welcome to the party, and congratulations on finishing this seed. I'm not going to say what words I have for this seed, but you know.
That makes me want to stop playing this game. To be perfectly honest with you guys.
Now,
Oof.
am I correct in that you found your third Turtle Rock key in the Lumberjack Cave?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So yeah, turns out the fourth one was, I think, Hera's basement.
I think I got that one.
Then Fat
Pyramid
Fairy.
Fat Fairy. Okay.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I saw the small key in the Agnum tree, and by that point, with nothing else left, I figured that's got to be the last Turtle Rock key in there, or at least what I did up there was steal the key from Pokey and then have an extra key to work with. But
Yeah.
no, but whenever I skip Swamp Palace left side, it always has. And whenever I check it, it's garbage. And I don't know what to do in that situation.
If I got any other progression out of the front back half of Swamp, I would have skipped left side. But I didn't.
Yeah,
so.
I mean,
Yeah,
if I had boots, I probably would have checked it, but I'm like, I didn't want to spend the time on it, especially because, we've been having conversations in the chat room with other races, and they're basically saying, like, you can't spend all your time 100% checking everything. You got to leave some places, skipped, and every place that I skipped in this seed had something.
Yeah. You gotta be, its efficiency is what I found is to be the most. Where you can go to check the most places, and then if you skip places, just keep them skipped until you can check other things. I don't know. That's how I feel about the Keysanity stuff.
The biggest thing is don't go to check just one thing if you can help it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Just like if you if you're gonna I tend to be like, okay, I'm gonna go to Skull Woods, and then I'm gonna look at the Lumberjack Cave, and then I'm gonna look at the Graveyard Ledge, because I'm like, okay, that's as convenient as the Graveyard Ledge is ever gonna get, unless I have
Right.
boots, right?
Try to roll some stuff in there, and then every once in a while I think I would just like forget a place, or it just wouldn't be available. I said, you know what? I'm going to take a chance with that one. I took a chance with Ice Cave. I took a chance with Checkerboard Cave. A couple, the Digging Game. The Digging Game was
Awful.
worst case scenario
That
because it
was-
was
that was
30 days
awful.
for a compass.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I went there super late too. Like I did a weird routing through west, south, and west Dark World, and skipped the Digging Game, Stumpy, and South Grove for the longest of times,
Yeah.
and then I had to go back and do it in my search for the flute. because I did it and I ended up doing it before Catfish, which then led to me doing that digging game, which was a fantabulous time.
Yeah,
Was that all 30?
When I beat Cold Stare, I was just like, please let this be a crystal. Please let this be a crystal. Please let
Yes,
this be a crystal."
definitely.
No!
I think every single one of us was saying that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, as were we. Yeah.
I was so convinced that it was a crystal that I forgot that I wasn't sure that it was a crystal. So I skipped one of the chests in Ice Palace.
It was from Swamp Palace
Ah.
that opened up ice, and you got
Was
the
it-
fire rod in there, and that pretty much opened up every other dungeon as long as you had the keys for it. So
Who was
Yeah.
it that skipped the vanilla big key chest in ice?
Me.
Okay.
Me. I think
It was just a big 20, I think. So you were all right there.
I'm
Okay.
not sure which
I
one is the
skipped the
big one.
chest above it because I didn't want to just waste time on a bombas for this freeze ores.
Yeah.
That's the big chest, though. Whatever. I skipped Ice Tea Room just because.
Yeah,
Nice.
so did I.
There's 2
All
Turtle
right.
Rock keys. Worst case, I'll just go get the one that's probably at Lumberjack.
Oh my! And Aghanim did not do us any favors, did he?
That was not a small
It's like 9
number
blue
of
balls right there.
balls.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah. So anyway,
what a seed.
yeah.
Always check Catfish is what I've been learning today.
All right, so everybody, you know, this is only the first week of Swiss. That means nobody here is out of contention just yet. So I hope to see you all playing your matches next week. Are you guys planning on playing all of your matches no matter what happens?
I
Yeah.
am, yeah.
Yeah, I figure. Why not? You might get one win somewhere in the middle of all that. So
That's what I'm personally shooting for.
I just think it's fun. It's a good time.
I just need to schedule my races earlier on in the day so I don't spend the entire day stressing out about it.
Yeah, I didn't get
Uh,
much sleep last night either. It's good to have
all
late
right.
commentary. Went to bed pretty late, woke up and saw I had a commentary in like an hour. I'm like, oh, well, guess I'm getting up now.
All right, everybody. So that was an excellent race. Everyone did an excellent job on this run.
Yeah, there's lots of back
there
and
were
forth
many
trading of the
times-
lead, and yeah, it was a lot of fun to watch. So yeah,
Like
thanks guys.
Loogaroo and
Good.
Freddeh, you were both in the Mothula fight at the same time.
Oh, jeez.
I think Chex and SirBeater were in the Cold Stare fight at the same time.
So it
There
sounds
was-
like my not having that last key for Turtle Rock basically decided this race.
Yeah, basically.
Basically,
Okay.
Both of the guys on the right-hand side had a third key for Turtle Rock at that point, or just got it out of Hera, and then both of the players on the left did not. So, all right. So, with that, everybody, does anybody else have anything they want to say to our viewers or to anyone else who's watching this tournament?
Thank you for commentating. I'm sure it was a fun one.
And,
Yeah, thanks to-
thanks for making this the randomizer community so big now. It's so there's so many people playing it now. It's awesome.
And thanks to all the behind-the-scenes people that make these restreams possible. The restreamer, the trackers, you commentary guys, Feasel, everybody. It's a lot of fun.
Indeed. On that note, thank you so much to our production team. We've got Feasel running the restream. We've got our 2 trackers. Ralph is my name, and oh, sorry,
Thelaine.
Thelaine. And thank you so much for running that. That is a thankless job, and it's way harder than it looks.
Especially with
and-
4.
And it just gets worse with Keysanity. That's all I'm saying. She got more keys. And I also want to thank Sabotender for helping me out here today on commentary.
Well, thank you, Dr. Bob.
No problem. And I want to go ahead and say, if you enjoyed anything you saw here, make sure to follow all the speed gaming channels and any of the runners and the production team involved. We would also appreciate your follow. No pressure there. But thank you very much for watching. And on that note, I think it's about time to end. So I'm going to say that I have been Dr. Bobtastic.
And I've been Sabotender.
And I'll see you later.